Testing, testing, testing. Peggy, can you say something?
Hello, my name is Peggy Davenport.
Have at it. Today is November 6, 1987. My name is Rebecca Sharpless, and I'm interviewing for the first time Peggy J. Davenport, who is president of the Atlanta chapter of 9 to 5, Working Women. The interview is taking place at Carlos McGee's restaurant at Chamblee Tucker on Route 285 in Atlanta, Georgia. And I don't exactly know where to go from here. How'd you get involved with 9 to 5?
Well, that's always a good starting place.
Yeah, it is a good starting point. I had a really good visit with Cindy.
I bet. She is a wealth of knowledge. Well, I got started with 9 to 5, mainly because I've always wanted to be an office worker. I know nobody ever admits that. But I ran into problems. I've worked in many different industries. I worked, jobs anywhere from, I think the shortest time I worked was a year to 3.5 years in different kinds of industries. And I always felt like there was something missing, that the office workers had the majority of the work to do with very little respect and acknowledgement. And whenever I questioned that to any of the bosses, for instance, one place that I worked, the upper level management people got paid free parking. At that time I was making less than $200 a week several years ago. I approached management and I said, well, it seems to me like the upper level management people are the ones who are most able to pay for their parking. It should be something for the people who make, less amount of money. And the response was, well, tough, that's the way it is, and that's the perk for being in management. So anyway, things like that. But then I was considered, because of that kind of statement, a problem in the office, a negative force in the office, and an instigator, a troublemaker, because I spoke out with something that to me was very simple and quite reasonable. So I lost a job in 1981. I was office manager at a beverage company, a beer distributor. Went to work early, to take care of things, worked on Saturdays, get caught up, and just worked like a dog, right, all the time. And I had an interview a few months. I think I had an interview in April. And the guy said, oh, you're great, you're terrific, you're wonderful, you're going places, you really have a lot of great ideas for you. A few months later, I was fired for no reason. I said, well, why am I being terminated? Oh, no reason. We'll think of one and let you know later, was the response that I got. And they protested my unemployment and everything. So after several months of being unemployed, freelancing and trying to make it with being a single parent, I did get a job as a church secretary, and in the drawer of the desk on my new job was a leaflet from 9 to 5, who had just started a few years before that time. And it said, do you want to know about your legal rights? Are you tired of being mistreated? Do you want respect and all those kinds of things? Which I'm going, yeah, it's about time, because there are all kinds of professional organizations for every aspect of the business industry, for managers mainly, but there's nothing for office workers. So here I saw this opportunity to become involved with somebody who was about what I was about, who didn't say you're a troublemaker because you want fair and equal treatment on a job. So I went to that first meeting and I was just elated. I floated out of the meeting because I said, wow, here are a group of people who have the same concerns that I do, who are very supportive, who have problems and answers to problems, and who are doing something about it. I said, this is for me. So that's how I became involved with 95. In a long roundabout way, but that's how I became involved. And it's been extremely beneficial. It's helped me a lot since I've been a member, because where I've brought the same kind of situation to the attention of management as I brought with, say, paying for parking. I'm met now, the responses that I get now, because I know how to approach management a little bit better now. The response is, well, let's work on it, let's see about it, let's discuss that, let's try and deal with it, instead of don't think like that, join the group and be out, somebody else can have your job. People say things like that to you. Because I know how to approach people, and I know how to talk to people through the assertiveness, communication type courses that we've had, the legal rights clinics that we've had, the surveys that we've done that show what salaries are in the state, in the city rather, both for private and public employees. So I can tell people, well, I'm doing this kind of job. When I came, the job level was this. Now I've increased that job responsibility to this, and the kinds of people who work this kind of job that I do are making this kind of money, and I'm making this kind with these kinds of benefits, stuff like that. So that's how I became a member, and why I've remained a member for the last 5 years.
when we were just talking a few minutes ago, you mentioned the survey that 9 to 5 had done on technology. Go ahead and eat.
Crackle in there.
No, I don't care. I don't care if the crackles in the mic.
Well, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Okay, around.
But I feel especially guilty because I know you're hungry.
That's okay.
So go ahead
not
and
here.
eat. Yeah, but this is food.
But
food.
yeah. 9 to 5 being an office worker organization, we mainly try and deal, like I said, with complaints and try and make working conditions better for every office worker. And the majority of the complaints that we got, both in the Atlanta chapter and national as well, were people who work on VDTs, but with VDTs becoming more and more a part of the office workplace now. As a matter of fact, I think that about 1 out of every 3 office workers works on a computer of some kind now. So a lot of people are complaining about, they love, like a lot of people say, they're great as far as storing material and getting information out. But the hell of the problems that people suffer from is what employers tend to just sweep under the rug and say, oh, well, that's just her. You know, it's just she's a grouch anyway, you know. Because a lot of problems that people have with them are like the leg pains, back pains, headaches, blurred vision. There was one lady who told this horror story who worked at a large bank, insurance company here, said she had to wait for 30 minutes every day she got on work before she could go home because it took that long for her eyes to adjust. She couldn't see. And she had no provision for eye exams on her job. And the boss would just say, oh, well, you'll get over it, you know. And then, of course, there's an added problem, people having the increased clusters of problem pregnancies that result from people who use VDTs. Mm-hmm. Although this has not been conclusively proven, what we like to see is that it is not proven. Yeah, we like for it not to be a connection, but the incidence is abnormally high. Mm-hmm. So that's why, one of the reasons, that 9 to 5 conducted this program. They had, in a 6-month period of time, we had a hotline to the national office. They received over 6,000 phone calls in 6 months. That's an awful lot of phone calls. People who had problems working on VDTs.
In your personal experience, when you mentioned that you started out with just a typewriter, mm-hmm. When you went to computer, what kind of training did you get?
No. Kind of extra nasty for me. I received no training. Well, during my history of being an office worker, which spans over 20 years, I always like to tell my boss, I worked on, what first started out as a little cassette computer where you plug in, you put the cassette in for the program and the cassette in for the data. And you have a big machine in another state somewhere that transmit the information to and they give it back to you. So I worked on that kind. Then I worked on a big floppy disk. But now the one that I have now is a 3.5-inch floppy disk, which is very small, which is a new one. The ones I worked on before, the person who was working on it prior to me gave me a few hours of instruction on it. But the one I have now, we just went right down the street here to Intercompany, picked it up, and my boss didn't know nothing about it. And we were working with a new company, and there was nobody there to teach me. So it was all self-taught instruction. And it was completely different from the other two that I've worked on. So no, but that's what they do now. They just say, here it is, here's the manual, go to it.
Has that been true with the women you've talked with also?
Yes, several times. People say, and sometimes women don't even know they're getting a computer. I mean, they don't even have time to prepare for it. At least in this instance, in my personal instance, I was involved in what kind of computer we got and what kind of software. I was instrumental in determining the software that we got for it. And I did have a lot of people that I talked to. But as far as somebody coming in and telling me, you do this, you do that, nobody. I mean, who was there? The computer salesman was my teacher, basically. Yeah, but we find out a lot of people, they don't even know they're going to get one. They don't know nothing about it. Had some women, not in the Atlanta chapter, but in the LA chapter, I've heard of an incident where a lady just quit a job after been there many, many years, over 10 years, because she was afraid that she was going to have to learn how to use a computer. And she wasn't ready for that change, but she didn't have a choice. So the only other option was to leave the work, that particular place. So no, it's not really that common to get training at all.
That's kind of a dilemma when the worker doesn't want to learn the computer because of fear. Mm-hmm. What happens then?
Well, like this, I've never known for them to say, well, you don't have to work on a computer. This is the only case I can quote right off, but she left the job.
Most people overcome their fears, or at least...
Yeah, a few people like me, I enjoy working on it, except for the health effects. I like the challenge. And I think I'm unique in a lot of ways. For one, that I like new challenges. I like new things, and I love to learn. Anything that's new that's going to increase my knowledge, broaden my horizons in any respect, I want to know about it. So that's me, but there are a lot of people who don't want to do that, who are very content with where they are, and they don't like change. I welcome change. I like to keep up with what's happening. But what was amazing to me about me working on this computer was when I got it, I have a daughter who's a freshman in college now, but she took computer courses in high school. This is the one thing we were able to talk about. He said, well, does your computer do this, Mom? Does your computer that? You know, the one I have at school does this. And she was really animated talking about it. So it is definitely the way of the future. I agree with that. But there should be some protections for the people who work on them. Mm-hmm. Because if my daughter's going to work on one, I won't want her to have to suffer through when she decides to have a family.
Grandmother.
I wouldn't want her to have to fear, you know, having any health effects from having worked on one. Or we'll probably be working on one no matter what field she chooses. Mm-hmm. Working on a computer.
What can be done about the health effects from the DDT?
Well, like I said, 95 has a lot of recommendations. And several of them include, and a lot of bosses say, well, it will cost so much money to institute these changes. That is not true. We recommend simple things, for instance, not fluorescent lights, because they cause that glare on the screen, but a simple desk lamp. That's effective. In a chair, they have ergonomic workstations where your computer is set at the right height for your eye and all like that. And then you have the ergonomic chair, which I don't have, but that keeps your back straight. My sister worked for a chiropractor once, and I went to visit her at her office, and she had mentioned to him that I was there. As a matter of fact, I was in my hometown to do a talk show.
What's your hometown?
Well, I'm from Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia. Mm-hmm. So I went by to see her. And her boss ran out there and said, look, I know you were 95, I know you came for that, but look, we have this ergonomic chair. He was really just sure to make sure that I knew that he was complying. So things like the chair, the workstation, these things don't cost a lot. The glare shields cost, I think, less than $50. Things like that, and regular rest breaks. A lot of times when I'm working on my machine now, if I get all tense and tight and just tired, I just stop, you know, just take a walk around, you know, stretch. But a 10-minute break every hour is not going to cost you anything.
Is the stretch, do you think? I was wondering this morning about myself. Is the stress from working on a computer itself, or is it the same stress you'd be on if you were at a typewriter for that concentrated time?
The only kind of stress I've experienced working on a typewriter for an extended period of time is sometimes my fingers get cramped. Mm-hmm. My fingers don't get cramped on the computer, but my back and my neck and my head. Now, I don't have any problems with my legs, but I can definitely feel it right through in my back. I feel like one of those aspirin commercials on TV, you know?
Yeah.
But, no, it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. Plus, you're not that close to a screen. You're not looking at a screen on the TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, on a typewriter. Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely different. There's a difference. Manually typing, you don't get a lot of work done. I mean, the quantity is definitely a lot less. If I go home in the evenings several times, especially working more than 8 hours a day, I'll go home and I just go to bed because I'm just too tired. If that printer has been going in my ear all day, I am drained. And I never have that problem with the typing. Even though the typing, the keystrokes are louder. It doesn't give me a headache. But hearing that printer go.
Yeah, let's talk about the quantity of work. You told me your boss gave you 40 letters this morning.
Mm-hmm. I'll get them done today.
That would never happen with a typewriter.
No, not in one day.
Is that good or bad? I can't decide.
It's good for him.
What about for you?
It's okay for me because I've already decided that I won't do anything else today. Now I won't have to do those 40 letters or something else. So that's fine. But if I was on my typewriter having to do those letters, if he expected to get them today, then I'd have to work overtime, which he's not willing to pay for to get them. Now that's the difference as far as quantity goes. I can have, because I've done about 20 already. So I've already done that. For instance, he might give me a letter to two people in the same office. So simple, just to keep the same address and just change the name, basically the same letter. Where if it's a typewriter, you got to type the whole thing over, period. So that's one reason that the quantity is increased, the speed, because you don't have to do the whole thing over. And then the way I do mine is while one letter's printing out, I'm putting another one in. So, yeah, so that's how that works. That's great.
Do you have a sheet feeder?
No.
feed each sheet individually.
Yeah. I have, I guess, a bottom of the line printer. I have a pro printer.
That's what I have.
Oh, really?
Little square letters, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I have.
It's not as pretty as the ones with the IBM characters and things.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to spend $7,000 for a jet printer, laser jet printer.
And it toodles at you when you need
It
anything.
does. I'm talking on the phone and people hear that thing and they say, what is that?
It sounds like video games.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. I said, I'm going to find out how to disconnect that thing because
I know how
gets
to disconnect it.
How do you?
Okay. Well, I have the pro. Okay, is yours the kind that has the 3 buttons across the front and then the on-off switches? Okay, you'll hold down the 2 buttons on the left when you turn it on. That disables the tweeting mechanism.
I'm going to do that when I go back. I'm going to cut that sucker off. And
It's not permanent. You have to do it every time you turn it on.
yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah, because that would just drive me nuts.
It does drive
Sounds
me
like a
nuts.
klaxon horn.
Yeah, it does. It's loud. And I haven't figured out yet. I haven't had a chance to figure it out.
Here comes the food.
It's loud. Is that for us?
It's all from that